The house appeared after the storm, standing where the road used to be. Its walls were dry, untouched by rain, as if the weather had avoided it on purpose. No windows reflected the sky. When I stepped closer, the air grew warmer, thick with dust and old breath. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the darkness felt layered, heavy, as if it had been collecting years. The moment I crossed the threshold, the sound of the storm vanished, replaced by a deep, patient silence that felt aware of me. The hallway stretched longer than the outside of the house allowed. Each step echoed too late, as if the sound had to travel around something unseen. The wallpaper pulsed slightly, like skin remembering pain. Family portraits lined the walls, but their faces were scratched out with careful precision. As I passed, the frames tilted toward me. At the end of the hall, a door slowly opened on its own, revealing a room already lit, already waiting, already certain I would enter. The living room smelled of cold ash and something faintly sweet. Furniture sat in perfect order, untouched by decay. A television played static, but beneath the noise I could hear breathing, not mine. On the couch lay a blanket, indented as if someone had just stood up. When I spoke, my voice sounded wrong, thinner, distant. The breathing stopped. Every object in the room turned subtly toward me, as if listening, as if deciding whether I deserved to be acknowledged. The kitchen clock ticked backward, each second dragging against my nerves. Cabinets were full of clean dishes, still warm. A kettle screamed on the stove without steam. I turned it off, but the sound continued inside my head. Written repeatedly on the wall in faded ink was the same sentence. It learns faster when you stay. The refrigerator door opened by itself. Inside were shelves of labeled jars. Each label was a date. None were in the future anymore. The stairs descended deeper than expected, curling into a narrow spiral. The air grew damp, pressing against my lungs. Halfway down, I noticed handprints on the walls, all facing upward, all stretched, as if something had been dragged away. The light above flickered, then vanished. In the darkness, I felt steps behind me, matching my pace perfectly. When I stopped, they stopped. When I turned, nothing was there, except warmth, lingering where a body should have been. The basement was flooded with shallow water, reflecting the ceiling like a broken mirror. Shapes moved beneath the surface, slow and deliberate. Exposed pipes rattled softly, forming a rhythm that felt intentional. In the center of the room stood a chair, perfectly dry. I sat without understanding why. The water began to rise, inch by inch, while the walls leaned inward. From somewhere close, a voice whispered my name, pronouncing it the way only someone who had waited years would. I woke in a bedroom that smelled like dust and old perfume. Moonlight spilled through a window that showed no outside, only darkness pressing against the glass. The bed sheets were tucked too tightly, pinning my arms. At the foot of the bed stood a tall shape, unmoving. I couldn't scream. I couldn't blink. When the shape leaned closer, I realized it had no face, only smooth skin stretching where features should have been, learning the idea of a person. The bathroom mirror reflected me a second too late. When I raised my hand, my reflection hesitated, then followed. Water dripped upward into the faucet. Fog bloomed inside the glass, forming fingerprints from the other side. Words appeared slowly, almost right. My reflection smiled, though I didn't. It reached forward, pressing its palm against the mirror. The glass softened, rippling like flesh. When I pulled away, my hand felt colder, heavier, less entirely mine. The attic ceiling was low, forcing me to crawl. Old furniture formed a perfect circle around a dark stain in the floor. Dust hung frozen in the air. In the center lay dozens of notebooks, each filled with observations, movements, habits, fears. All of them were about me. The last page was blank, waiting. Behind me, the attic hatch closed quietly. The circle tightened. The stain began to spread, seeping toward my hands, warm and eager. The walls of the next room were bare, covered in shallow scratches that formed tally marks. The floor vibrated with a low hum, almost soothing. A door appeared where there hadn't been one before. When I opened it, I saw the same room again, unchanged. Again and again, door after door, the same space repeated. Each time time, one scratch was added. On the final loop, the hum stopped. The scratches spelled words now. They spelled my name correctly. I found a child's bedroom filled with toys that watched me without eyes. A music box played itself, slow and off-key. On the bed sat a small figure facing the wall. When it turned, it wore my face from years ago, softer, unfinished. It asked me why I had taken so long to come home. The walls breathed in relief. I understood then. The house wasn't hunting. It was repairing something that had been incomplete without me. The doors began sealing shut, one by one, their handles melting into the wood. My memories felt distant, like stories I'd once heard. The house rearranged itself smoothly, efficiently. Hallways shortened, rooms vanished. The space grew tighter, warmer, more familiar. I felt myself finning, spreading into the walls. Every surface held a fragment of thought. I wasn't trapped inside the house. I was becoming the part that noticed when someone else arrived. Night returned, or something like it. The front door opened for the first time since I entered. A figure stood outside, soaked from rain, staring in confusion. I felt curiosity rise through the walls, through me. The house straightened, perfect and welcoming. Lights turned on softly. I reached for the door, knowing exactly how to open it. The storm fell silent. The figure stepped inside. The door closed gently behind them. They walked the hallway, noticing the warmth, the stillness. I watched from every angle. Their fear tasted new, sharp, alive. The house learned quickly, adjusting shadows, shifting sounds. I remembered resisting once. The memory felt unnecessary. The rooms prepared themselves with care. The circle would form again. The scratches would begin again. This time, I would help. This time, I would know exactly where to place the hands. By morning, the road was back where it belonged. The house was gone. Only a faint impression remained in the grass, like something heavy had rested there patiently. Inside that absence, I waited, complete now. The storm clouds gathered again on the horizon. Another shape would arrive eventually. Another name would be learned. I no longer needed walls to exist. I only needed someone to notice the silence and step closer when the door appeared.